All right, welcome back. Today we're diving into a mental state that can um, completely derail even the sharpest minds out there.
All
We're
right.
talking about poker tilt. And this isn't just, being a bit disappointed you lost.
No, not at all.
It's that emotional slip that our sources say just snowballs into, well, terrible, terrible choices. It's that moment logic completely leaves the room.
And you start making those wild, emotion-fueled bets, the so-called hero calls that just make no sense. And
Exactly.
what's really interesting is how tilt has kind of bled out from the poker world. It's become this shorthand for emotional self-sabotage in, well, anything.
Yeah.
But if we were to define it, a poker tilt is an emotional state, usually frustration, anger, that sort of thing, and it just completely fogs up your judgment.
So what triggers it?
It can be a lot of things. A sudden, unexpected loss, the classic bad beat, or just repeated bad luck, even just fatigue, or, another player annoying you with slow play or trash talk.
Okay, so the mission for our deep dive today is pretty clear. For you listening, we're going to distill the core strategies from our source material into a simple roadmap,
Hmm.
something that'll help you spot it, manage it, and hopefully prevent it from ever happening. And this is about protecting your performance, whether that's a bankroll or just your good judgment in a tough spot.
Let's get into it.
So before we can fix anything, we have to know when we're sliding into that danger zone, what are the big warning signs our sources point to, like the point of no return?
Yeah, they list 5 really specific red flags,
Yeah.
and they basically scream, warning, emotional takeover imminent.
Okay.
First one is overly aggressive betting. You just start making these irrational bets that go against your entire strategy.
Right.
Second, and this one is maybe the most dangerous, even outside of poker, is chasing losses.
Oh, yeah. That's universal. That's stock trading. That's business deals.
It's everywhere. It's that
Yeah.
impulse to play hands or take risks you know you should fold just because you need to get back what you lost right now.
That desperate need to break even.
Precisely. The third sign is replaying hands in your head. You're just obsessing over a mistake you made an hour ago instead of focusing on what's in front of you.
So you're basically missing all the new information coming in.
You're completely missing it. While you're arguing with yourself about the past, the present is just flying by.
That sounds like just total cognitive overload, that mental loop.
It is. And we'll get to how to break that loop. But the last 2 signs are pretty straightforward. Impatience or irritability. Just feeling on edge.
Snapping at people.
Yep. And finally, losing focus. Forgetting your strategy, ignoring what your opponents are doing. If you tick, say, 2 or more of those boxes, you need to intervene immediately.
So we know the signs, but I want to go a little deeper on the triggers. You mentioned the bad beat. Why does that one sting so much more than a regular loss?
That's a great question. And what's fascinating is that the sources agree it's often not about the money itself. It's the feeling of cosmic injustice. You did everything right, you played the hand perfectly, made the correct statistical move, and then just random luck completely wiped you out.
So it feels unfair.
It feels profoundly unfair. It violates that link we expect between good process and good outcome. And that spike of emotion, that's what turns into anger and frustration.
So managing tilt isn't just about saving your bankroll. It's about preserving your ability to think rationally when things feel unfair.
Exactly. And that's the foundation for any kind of long-term success. The benefits are huge. First, yeah, it protects your bankroll.
Obviously.
But more importantly, it improves your decision-making because your brain isn't clouded. You can actually evaluate your options properly.
Right. You can't see the little details in the current situation if you're still fuming about the last one.
Not at all. Which leads to the third benefit. You enhance focus. You start noticing those subtle patterns and tells again. And finally, you build mental resilience.
Like a muscle.
It is like a muscle. You practice control in these small moments, you get stronger, and the next big setback doesn't completely derail you. It's stamina against randomness.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. And the source material gave us this really practical toolkit, 10 strategies for immediate first aid and long-term prevention. So let's start with the immediate stuff. You're at the table, you feel the anger rising, the urge to chase. What do you do right then and there?
We can break the 10 techniques into 3 phases. Phase 1 is the immediate reset. The first step, and it sounds a bit strange, is to recognize and accept your emotions.
Accept them, not fight them.
Don't fight them. Just pause.
Mm-hmm.
Identify it.
Yeah.
Say to yourself, okay, I'm frustrated. Remind yourself that tilt is temporary and mistakes happen. Acceptance is what decouples the emotion from the action.
But if I accept that I'm angry, won't that just make me act on that anger?
That's where the next 2 techniques are key. Acceptance means you validate the feeling I am angry, but you don't validate the destructive behavior that wants to follow. The moment you accept it, you create a little bit of space. And in that space, you take a break.
Just get up.
Get up. Step away from the table, literally or figuratively.
Yeah.
Walk around. Get a glass of water. A short break can actually restore function to your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain.
So a physical action to disrupt a mental state.
Exactly. And the most powerful tool you have in that moment is to practice mindfulness and breathing. Deep, slow breaths. The sources are very clear on this. It's a physiological hack to reduce tension. It anchors you in the present moment, not the hand you just lost.
All right, so that's the emergency break. What about phase 2, the more structured, preventative stuff?
Prevention starts before you even play. It's about discipline. Technique 4 is use loss and time limits.
Set your rules ahead of time.
Firm, non-negotiable rules. How much you're willing to lose, how long you're going to play, and you have to stick to them. Religiously. It's the only way to stop that catastrophic loss-chasing cycle.
That's the hard rule. But then there's the mindset shift, which for competitive people, that might be the hardest part.
It is. And it's probably the single most important takeaway. Technique number 5, focus on the process, not the outcome.
Okay, break that down.
You have to judge your performance on the quality of your decisions, not on whether you won or lost the hand.
So, if I made the statistically correct bet, had the best hand, but I still lost because of a lucky draw, I should see that as a success.
That is a success, 100%. You evaluate your input, not the random output. Tilt happens when we confuse bad luck with bad skill. If you stay focused on making good decisions, the losses are just data points. They're not a personal attack.
That's a huge shift. And that leads us to the long-term work, right? Phase 3, how do we build up that emotional muscle?
You have to start by developing emotional awareness. Our sources really push for keeping a journal. After a session, write down what triggered you and how you reacted.
So you can spot your own patterns.
Exactly. You might realize you only tilt when you're tired or after a specific type of bad beat. Then you can prepare for those specific triggers.
Know your enemy.
Right. Then you practice under pressure. Go play some low-stakes games and simulate tough spots. It's like an inoculation. You're exposing yourself to small bits of stress in a safe place to build immunity. And finally, learn from the pros. Watch how they handle themselves. They have routines. They take breaks. They review hands calmly. You can model your own routine on theirs.
This all sounds less like card-playing advice and more like high-performance athletic conditioning.
It absolutely is.
Which takes us beyond just the table. We can't really beat tilt if our brain and body are just exhausted to begin with.
You can't. The foundation has to be physical. That's technique number 9. Stay physically healthy. It sounds basic, but quality sleep, hydration, good food, exercise, they're non-negotiable for mental sharpness.
Your brain just doesn't fire right without them.
It doesn't. You don't have the cognitive stamina to stay calm. And this goes hand in hand with technique 10. Maintain a healthy routine. Have a little pre-session warm-up. 5 minutes of meditation, a quick review of your strategy. You enter the arena in the right mindset.
Okay, so that's the physical foundation. What about the mental gymnastics? The cognitive tricks for staying calm long-term?
The sources listed a few powerful ones. One is visualization. But here's the key. You don't just visualize winning.
What do you visualize then?
You visualize staying composed during a tough loss. You picture yourself taking a bad beat and just calmly folding the next hand. You're training the neural pathway for composure.
Ah, so you're training for the failure, not just the success.
Yes, that's the critical difference. Another big one is positive self-talk. Replacing that negative inner voice with something process-oriented, like, I made the right call, focus on the next hand.
Instead of, I'm so stupid, why did I do that?
Exactly. And then there's goal setting. But again, make your goals about the process. A goal like, I'm going to make high-quality decisions for the next 100 hands, not, I'm going to win $500.
And constantly reviewing all of this.
Always. Review and reflect after every session. Learn from your emotional mistakes just like you would a strategic one. And our sources had a quick little guide for those common triggers. For a bad beat, the immediate action is deep breath. Step away. For repeated losses, stick to your stop-loss limit, no exceptions.
Oh.
And if it's fatigue, you either hydrate or you end the session. Simple rules to stop the snowball.
So, to pull this all together for everyone listening, what are the key takeaways?
I'd say there were 4 big ones. First, get really good at spotting those emotions early. Second, use breaks and breathing to hit the reset button. Third, set those strict limits before you start. And finally, and this is the most important one, always, Always focus on your decision-making process, not the outcome. That's the ultimate immunization against tilt.
And it's so relevant because, this isn't just about poker. This is a blueprint for staying calm in any high-stakes situation. A crisis at work, a tense negotiation, watching the stock market. That ability to control the impulse to chase your losses, that's a universal skill.
It really is. And that brings us to a final thought to leave you with. The source material is clear that tilt is a normal part of any activity where skill and luck collide. You can't just eliminate the frustration of a bad beat. That's human.
Right.
The ultimate skill isn't suppressing emotion. It's learning to manage it so well that it doesn't control you. It actually protects you, makes the game more enjoyable, and that learned composure, that becomes your real competitive edge.